Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
I'm doing great.
It's a beautiful Saturday morning here in Florida. And I got up pretty early, but I didn't have my Ninja red. So I'm going to have my Ninja with a little Mindwise in my starter fluid cup.
That's cute.
Kathy, have you had any Ninja today?
I haven't had my Ninja yet.
You want some?
I would love some.
All right. Hold on one second.
Oh,
Why, thank you, Linda.
You're welcome. All right. That didn't work
Florida.
That didn't work as well as I thought it would, because you couldn't see my hand. But she is here, and we're gonna undo this here, because we're actually in the same room. And yes, you're gonna see my awful profile.
Well, I'll tip my screen for you.
Oh, the cat's gonna kill the green screen, I bet. Oh well. Yep, she's here. She's in my office.
Oh,
Yeah, we're still getting
Florida.
feedback because I'm coming into yours and you're coming into mine. So I
I'll
think
mute mine.
I think we need to mute when we're not talking. I mean, when we're not the person talking. So yes, Kathy arrived on Thursday night. We went out and had some dinner, came back, and we've been hanging out. And we're probably less prepared today for today's chat than we usually are, because it was just hard to keep focused when we're sitting right by each other. But we did, we've got loads to share and talk about today. I'm going to mute Kathy. You want?
I'm sorry. This is kind of hard because we're both in the same room. So you might hear some echoing from us today. But I was just asking Linda if I should just kind of like sit kind of angled behind her with one computer going. Would that be easier?
That might be.
Okay, well,
It might be less confusing.
I'm going to try that.
But you know what? Just no, go ahead. Yeah.
We'll do that?
Yeah, we'll do it this way.
Just stay on? Should I stay on this way or just turn my chair and talk?
Well, if you mute everything there. Oh, actually, it's not going to show anything. It's fine.
You all disappeared.
Wait, did we disappear or you just couldn't hear us?
Oh, I couldn't hear you or see you.
But you can now?
Now I can, yeah.
Okay. I'm talking and I didn't realize I'm hearing it from up there. I don't know how to, I think you have to close it maybe or turn it off. I'm just hearing that echo. It's bothering me. And you can't hear because I have this in. So we got to unplug this. And turn this up. Can you hear me? You can still hear me, Mary, right?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Better just shut that down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although
It says Kathleen left.
Kathleen, we're back. We're back in business here. All right. Sorry about that. I was talking about what was in my diffuser, and the only person who could hear me was Kathy. Yeah, so I've got the April diffuser calendar, which I send to people who opt into the daily text. So if you want these, you need to text diffuser to 585-337-2555, and then you'll be automatically entered and you'll get a daily text with each of the diffuser recipes. Today is citrus air, which I didn't follow the recipe. It's 4 drops lime, 2 drops lemon, and 1 drop spearmint. And I probably, yeah, I did not follow it at all, but mine has lime, lemon, and spearmint. So what does yours have?
lime, lemon, and spearmint.
All right, you're in the dark. You need to come closer. You need to not be a background figure. Yeah. Okay,
I
there we
turn
go.
my chair this way. Yeah, now we're both in here.
Yeah, we're in. All right.
That's good.
Yeah, we need to adjust the light.
I need to
adjust the light. Sorry, technical difficulties.
We didn't plan this out very well, did we?
Well, we tried to, right? We tried to, and then we had more difficulties. So,
Here we are.
all right, now we're
Spent too much time talking.
I know we did. We just like have like 3 cups of coffee and sit on the patio and talk about everything. And
Yeah. Very
That's-
nice. Been a great visit so far. And I'm
We got
sure
a couple
we'll
more.
continue.
today might be warm enough to swim. So that might be good for your arthritis. You can come over swim.
Mm,
All right. So today's topic is happiness, which is a loaded topic. I think everybody strives to be happy, right? Everybody thinks that that's the ultimate goal, is to be happy, but it's really not. You know, it's not, you shouldn't be your goal to be happy, because happiness, as Kathy has said, is a choice. You have to choose to be happy, and then you just are happy. And I've been reading a book called The Happiness Advantage, I think is what it's called, and I left it on the patio. But it is written by a behavioral psychologist who studied happiness and also studied happiness in conjunction with success. And what he says is that people have it all backwards, because they think that when they're successful, that will bring happiness. But the people who choose happiness, who lead a happy life first, they tend to be more successful. So we just have that adverse thinking that if we are successful, we'll be happy. But, you know, we know money doesn't buy happiness. It can hurt, but it doesn't buy happiness, because you can have, you know, all the money in the world and have a terrible family life or a relationship, or hate your job.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to choose happiness first, and then that will multiply and bring success. That's the theory behind this book. And he's got lots and lots of different allegories to kind of prove his point, and a lot of research to prove his point. And so that, I just wanted to start off with that, because it's a great book for just changing your perspective about that. For me, I think I'm a happy person. I've always been a glass half full. I always see the positive side of things rather than the negative side, which is not to say that I'm always happy, I'm always upbeat, and I never get mad. That's not true, because I tend to vent, release, and get over things, you know. And I remember driving with my mom, and subsequently I do the same thing with my daughter. If she's driving, you know, somebody cuts you off, or somebody
You
makes
do.
a bonehead move, and you go, son of a and my mom goes, calm down, you're gonna have a heart attack. And I'm like, oh, I'm fine, I'm just venting.
Just have
I'm
to get it
getting it out. And once it's out, it's gone. I'm good, you know?
and my daughter does the same thing. So I like, it shouldn't bother me because I know what she's doing, but it's just releasing it and getting rid of it. But I'm not always at the, I just won Wheel of Fortune stage. You know, everybody has their highs and lows, but that's not normal anyway, to always be that ecstatic. And we couldn't sustain that kind of happiness because
It takes work.
yeah, it takes too much work.
Takes work.
And if you were always ecstatic about things like, whoa, I'm so happy, we'd think something was wrong with you. And we would also get off of there.
Also might think you're faking it.
Yes. And then what happens to that level of happiness is it kind of diminishes
Mhm.
and it's not so happy anymore. And then you keep looking for higher highs, which maybe don't even exist.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm good with being content, and periodically feeling like I won Wheel of Fortune, you know, but you know, kind of an even keel. And I see the optimism in things. So, we looked up some things and had a definition of what happiness is. And we found all sorts of things.
All kinds of things.
We
yeah.
found comparisons to pleasure. We found comparisons to joy. And the hierarchy of what we found was sort of like pleasure can make you happy. And then like joy is something that's even greater, but internal. And I think we decided that, you know, from the site that we found it was talking about a spiritual joy and inner joy. So I don't know that that's a place we want to go today
Yeah.
because it wasn't quite right. But, you know,
And joy could also be things that bring you joy. And happiness doesn't always bring you joy, but it doesn't have to be a spiritual thing, but it can be, you know, just like, are you happy? Things, yeah. Yeah. Are you joyous or happy inside? Are you feeling joy inside when you're doing something you like? Because sometimes doing something you like doesn't always make you happy. You know, as an outward expression of how you're feeling inside, but you can feel that inside and nobody would even know,
right.
you know, where your happiness is
A
coming
case
from.
in point for that is artists. A lot of times artists are not happy people. They're happy creating that art, but they hold they hold themselves to such a high standard that there's dissatisfaction with the product. And so they're always striving to create the masterpiece and always feeling, you know, what's the word? It wasn't thrive, it's the opposite of thrive, like just sort of deceived by that, I guess, or just that they can't ever get to that utopia of happiness in creating the perfect masterpiece. So they tend to be, you know, kind of glass half
Mhm.
full people that are just sort of miserable, even though they're doing something they love. So, so the Oxford English Dictionary definition of happy, they have 3. Or actually, this one is feeling or showing pleasure in or contentment. Okay, so that's pretty good. So happiness is the state of feeling or showing pleasure or contentment. And from this definition, we can glean a few important points about happiness. It's a state, not a trait. So we always think of, oh, she's such a happy person, like it's an adjective, but it's actually a state of being. It's sort of like who they are, part of who they are. It isn't long lasting. It's not a permanent feature, or it says actually not a personality trait, but more of a fleeting, changeable state. So we're not always 100% happy. We're not
Right.
always in that state. It can be equated with feelings of pleasure or contentment, but it's not to be confused with joy, ecstasy, bliss, or more intense feelings. So I think those are more fleeting, you know, like if you think of ecstasy or pleasure, that's more fleeting, that's more momentary, and it might make you happy for that moment, but it's not a long lasting thing. It's just kind of a trigger. And I think that also can make people unhappy if they're always looking for that ecstasy or that, you know, extreme pleasure moments, like feeling like that's what life should be.
I think that would be exhausting,
I-
trying to
yeah.
keep striving for that minute by minute. I mean, if you're doing it daily and looking at the things or doing the things that make you happy,
Mhm.
and like you said, those are momentary things that give you joy
Right.
and, you know, at that point. But yeah, it would be pretty hard to sustain continuous high pleasure. Like
Right.
that.
Happiness can be either feeling or showing, meaning that happiness is not necessarily an internal or external experience, but it can be both. That's a little bit confusing, but it also can be known in the positive psychology realm as subjective well-being. So I guess subjective being that everybody has their various states of what happiness is for them. Another researcher, Chu Kim Prieto and Ed Diener and their colleagues, said there are three main ways that happiness has been approached in positive psychology. Happiness as a global assessment of life in all its facets. Happiness as a recollection of past emotional experiences. And happiness as an aggregation of multiple emotional reactions across time. That's really too technical. It's not a permanent state. It's a more stable state than pleasure. And we already talked about that pleasure can contribute to happiness, but it's not necessary. It's just
not sustainable.
Yeah, it's
at
not
that point.
sustainable.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think I copied something twice. So
Yeah.
I'm reading it twice. And all right, so then we looked at, here's a how to be happy video. I forgot I had that. Maybe we should share that now. They covered a lot of points that we talked about.
Mhm.
And one research that I did looked at 6 different people who were kind of in psychology and asked, what does it mean to be happy? And they gave their ideas. But I think for structural purposes, you have the Dr. Axe article. And I think we should go with that because he has like 15 life-saving steps. So, Mary, anything to say on the subject? Have you given it any thought? I know you did that.
Happiness. I've been searching for happiness my entire life. But I've always been a half empty most of my life. And I guess I'm at the glass is half.
That
Half and half.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not
And I'm
full or
working.
empty. It's just
It's-
it is
It
what
just is. And now I'm working on happy. Like I keep telling a lot of people, I'm in the last third of my life, you know, I'm at the end, not soon, hopefully. So I'm just trying to do things that I like I started that card making and I enjoy that. So, you know,
And I can see.
and I'm starting to meditate. I need to do that gratitude journal.
Mhm.
I haven't really started that one yet, but I'm just looking to ways to enjoy the rest of my life.
And when
That's what I am. But it's
your face lit up. I mean, you got a smile on your mouth as well as in your eyes. I can see that. And so that does bring you happiness. That does bring you, you know, that's something that brings you some joy too, because you're not only just making the cards, you're sharing them with people. And they talked about, what was the word that they used in sharing happiness or doing something for somebody else? And that's
Empathy
what you're
and
doing. Yeah,
yeah.
empathy and all that other
Yeah.
helps others.
and volunteering is wonderful. I volunteered at a hospital and you made new friends, but you also felt, you know, I talked to all these people, you know, and while you're walking them down the aisle to get them to their operating room.
But you know,
But, you know,
you just never know that one little thing that you do or say to someone can have a big impact on their day or even on their life. I mean, so you are experiencing happiness by giving those things to other people, by doing that for other people, which
Yeah.
is great.
I think a lot of people don't realize, you know, they're like, I'm too busy to volunteer. I can't do this. I can't do that. But they are more self-centered. And when you are more self-centered that way, and you're always worried about you miss out on all of those blessings of reaching out to other people and trying to do for other people. Because that does bring a lot of joy,
Mhm.
you know. But
And
if you
just-
think about egocentrical people,
mm,
egocentrical. Anyway, they're not usually happy people because they're always looking for self-gratification in some way, you know, or acknowledgement.
well, one of my volunteers' jobs was selfish a little bit for me because it was holding babies.
Right. That's
And that gave me extreme joy, and it helped the nurses,
And
but it also helped the babies.
Right.
So,
exactly. So
but,
that
oh,
you all shared in that happiness and that joy and
yeah.
gratification was
I would just sit there and stare at this little creature, little tiny face, you know, and talk to them and sing to them or whatever, you know, very low, you know, and it was amazing. Days I was like, I don't want to get up. And then I said, but I get to hold a baby.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, you should see if you can get a gig like that again.
Yes, I'm thinking of it. I guess I'd have to go to Leesburg or Ocala, one of them.
Yeah, but you're
But-
closer to Leesburg now when you move. So,
Yeah. Mm,
well, number one is on Dr. Axe's list is choose to be grateful. And we've said that over and over again as we were, what were we talking about before? Self-love was our
Mhm.
big talk, loving yourself and choosing to be grateful. What does he say about that, Kath?
What does he say about that? He says it helps bring attention to the things that you are thankful for and thankful for in your life, as well as what's going on around you, your family. It's just part of being happy, you know, it helps you to realize you do have happiness, you do have joy in your life by being grateful.
I recently had a friend who posted like, oh my gosh, this happened and that happened, and oh my gosh, you know, the hit the fan. And I immediately texted her and I said, right now, give me five things you're grateful for, you know, to counterbalance whatever's going bad, because, you know, you stop and you are able to count your blessings and say what you're grateful for. All of a sudden, the bad stuff doesn't seem so bad. You're able to put it in perspective.
Mhm.
And I know there are so many overly dramatic people. I'm overly dramatic, but I'm in an up tempo kind of way.
Mhm.
But there are overly dramatic people. Everything is the end of the world. Everything is a crisis. And those are the people that need to stop and count your blessings and realize, don't sweat it. You know, I think the spiritual connection for me has been really helpful for that. But knowing that I'm not in control anyway. And if I just trust in God, he's going to get me through this. What's that saying? God never gives you more than what you can handle.
mhm.
So if you believe that, if you use that attitude, that gets you through the bad stuff. So just stop and be thankful, you know, write it out, say what you want, say what you are grateful for. And it can be the most mundane things. I'm grateful for a hot cup of coffee. I'm grateful that the sun is shining today. I'm grateful for my cats that, you know, come and cuddle with me in the morning
I'm
or
grateful
whatever.
for my friend.
I'm grateful for you too. I'm so glad you're here. But yeah, just and start with three things a day, then build it to 10 things and then see where it goes. And if you repeat things, that's okay, but don't repeat the same things day after day after day after day, because then what that does is it goes, I don't have anything else to be grateful for. This
Yeah,
is a
you
sad
narrow your
life.
field.
You know,
Yeah.
don't narrow it down. You can be grateful for big things, for little things, you know, for your kids or for your house, or just that the sun is shining,
Mhm.
and it can change every day. You
And you
know,
woke up in the morning
right? Yeah.
to enjoy another day.
I thank God every morning. Thank you
Yeah.
for another day, God. I'll try to do my best.
That's
You
right.
know, try to do
Yeah.
my best with this.
And the
Just-
next thing on the list to help move toward that happiness is choose to forgive people. You know, here it says that the major cause of depression stems from a lack of forgiving others. Okay, so you had a bad experience with someone and you don't want to carry that on forever, because that just kind of chips away at you allowing room in your heart for happiness, right?
Mhm.
And joy. So
Mm.
I think if you
Holding a grudge.
holding a
Ugh.
grudge is the worst thing possible, because that also increases your stress. We all know what stress does to your body. It increases inflammation in your body, and then you can get sick, you know, in a number of
Mhm.
different ways.
Mhm.
So if you let go of that and choose happiness, or choose to look at the things that bring you happiness or joy, that helps you to, you know, it releases serotonin.
Serotonin. Yeah.
Serotonin, and that helps to reduce your inflammation in your body.
And it's just it's a hard thing for some people to do, is to let go and forgive. That's the one that I made,
That's
and
the
I
one you
forgot
made.
I was going to share that. Yes. Okay, I'm going to share that in a second. What was I going to say about that? So last year I had the whole patio fiasco where I had the contractor said he was going to come. They prepped it all like the next day, and then it took a month, 5 weeks of me calling and like, when are you going to pour the concrete? When are you going to pour the concrete? And it kept getting delayed. I was so frustrated with this guy. And then they finally poured the concrete, and they left a mess, and they left equipment, and they left like holes in my yard, and he never came back. And I was stalking him on Facebook and trying to figure out his story. And I was so angry. I was like, I can't believe, that I fell for another contractor that didn't follow through with a job. And I gave him the money, and I shouldn't have paid him that last little bit, because then he never showed up again. And I had to pay for somebody else. So I had all this anger. But as I was stalking him on Facebook, I found out that he lost a son, an adult son, like 6 months prior to that. And so all of a sudden I understood that he was a broken person, and that he was just trying to do his best, and life was getting to be too much for him. So he's on my prayer list twice. He's in the spot where I grieve for, I ask for comfort for those who have lost a child. And he's in another section of my prayer list for people who maybe need some emotional, mental support. And it took a long time for me to like mention his name and pray for him without having that jerk like in my head. I'm praying for him, but I'm still thinking of him, and it's been a year now. So I think I'm just about there, but it's like, oh, that jerk, but I'm going to pray for him because he needs it. But I still had that grudge. So I think I'm good there. I think I've gotten past that, but it does take a long time, and you have to let go of that negative crap. I'm gonna, if you hold on to that, sure. I can find that graphic to share. You keep talking.
So
I'm gonna look at
forgiveness
it.
is really an act of kindness and compassion, right? Because you're letting go of those things, but you're also giving them, I don't want to say an out, you're being kinder to them by not holding that grudge, which they may not even know that you have a grudge against them, or that you feel this anger toward them.
Oh yeah, they may be way over it, right?
Yeah, and so they're off on their, doing their thing, and we're still holding on, and we don't want to do that, because it only messes you up. They've already gotten past it. They've already moved on, but don't hold yourself back in that way.
I'm going to give you this gift of this beautiful graphic.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, we liked this saying. It came from a Christian post, and Dr. Axe created a graphic, and then I was like, I can do better than that. So I created this one. So the first to apologize is the bravest. Good first step. The first to forgive is the strongest. That's a hard thing to forgive, but the first to forget is the happiest. So apologize, forgive, and forget is our three keys, but that forget is the most important. Just let it go and move on, right? So there you go. Back to here. All right,
Okay,
what's
so
next?
The next thing is use positive words. So again, that goes back to that positive self-talk for ourselves, number one, you know, to make yourself feel more happy and joyous. Don't knock yourself down. Don't, you know,
Who's gonna build you up if not
Right.
yourself, right?
Right.
And if you're the person knocking yourself down, there's nobody building you back up. And then people get tired of that, right?
Right.
If you're always denigrating, is that the word?
degrading.
Self-degrading. My words, my mind
That's
hasn't
okay.
set in. If you're always like picking on yourself and your friends are like, oh no, you're okay. You're beautiful. And they get tired of your negativity. And then pretty soon they're going to stop trying to build you up because
Right.
it just gets old and it's too much energy for for other people to put all of that into someone else.
And it says here that positivity or talking, you know, having positive self-talk through your words or words to others even can change your brain.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I learned when I was teaching that was kind of mind-blowing, and it's something that I think a lot of people don't realize that it's true. And I didn't realize it. And then I went to this seminar and I heard this guy talk, is that your brain is elastic and it's never fixed. So there was this man, a professor, he became a professor, he became a doctor, I think, of psychology. But where did he start? In elementary school, he was labeled and put into special ed classes for his inability to learn. This was, I don't know, I'm trying to think how old he would be now. He's probably 50s, in his 50s. But at the time, you know, when kids had difficulty learning, mental issues and things, they put them in special ed and you were in that special ed room. And so they didn't have that, the whole inclusion or any of those different strategies for keeping kids with disabilities in the classroom. So you went to that little room. So he was in that room. And of course, what does that do to your self-esteem? It kills you, right? So he went to this one school where he was put in the special ed room, but there was a gifted room across the hall. And he was super interested in what they were doing. And they finally let him come in there. And so they were allowing him to kind of participate in higher level learning. I'm going to make this could be a long story and I don't remember all of it. So I'm going to try to skip to the end. Basically, in high school, he was still in special ed, but he was able to go into these gifted rooms from time to time to do some things. But over time, over great discipline, he was able to change his brain to make, learning easier and to learn how to learn and increase his own brain's capacity for learning. So not only did he finally get out of the special ed room, later in high school, but he went on to college. He went on to become a doctor of psychology, and he's out giving lectures and things like that. And what he mostly lectures on is the research around the elasticity of the brain, that the brain is ever changing and has the capacity for change, that just because you may have some mental deficiency at one stage in your life, it doesn't mean that you're there. Think about stroke victims. A lot of times stroke victims, they take giant steps backwards, but they're able to retrain their brain to do things. And, my mother-in-law had a stroke and she didn't have speech for a while, but they were able to train her back. I mean, she called things by the wrong name for a while, but she was able to recover because that brain is elastic. So what we feed it. This is a long story for this point, but that whole idea of positive self-talk, you are feeding your brain, you're training yourself to love yourself, to like yourself, to be happy. So start the day with those positive thoughts, even if you don't believe it at first.
So
Because
instead
you
of
will
going,
eventually.
instead of going into a downward spiral and getting to that depressive state, your brain will go into an upward spiral, which will give you happiness and bring you joy.
Side note, can you hear Kathy okay? Because I know I'm very loud, but you can hear her okay. Because you're really quiet. I'm like, I want to turn up the volume on you. And I'm right next to you.
I just don't want to feel like I'm yelling at everybody.
I always yell. I have to be loud. I'm impassioned, All right, what's number 4?
So number 4 is encourage others, show appreciation and respect for the things that your family, coworkers, and friends do for you each and every day. So we had talked about kind of that too, doing things for others. So just continue to do things for others.
Acts of kindness.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you, I felt really good about myself all day when I paid for the guy behind me at Dunkin' Donuts. You're just like, look what I did. And that's not to put yourself on a pedestal, but it does give those,
Makes you
raise
feel
your
good,
serotonin,
yeah.
makes you feel good. So
Makes you feel good to do something for someone else.
now don't do it all the time, because then you'll be poor. And then, when you feel like you don't have enough money, you feel depressed. So like, be careful. There's a balance there. Do other things,
But
pick some flowers.
Mary's doing things for others too. She did with the babies to make
Mhm.
those babies feel good, help the nurses, help the babies, and it helped you.
Yes.
And you're doing that with your cards as well. So,
Mhm.
that's a great way. So be intentional with your time too.
It's a hard one for me.
Yeah, you just don't want to sit in front of the TV all day because, that's not doing much for you unless you're watching some, something, I don't want to say necessarily educational, but yeah, you can watch something that makes you happy to watch on TV. You can watch something that brings you joy or that is educational for you. But it would also be great to spend time with others as well. Exercise,
Yeah, I have trouble structuring my day because I still haven't figured out Florida life. But I think, but I'm not, I don't do nothing. I think sometimes I have too much to do. And I guess my bad habit with not being intentional is when I get onto Facebook and I just start scrolling, and then it takes you down the rabbit hole because you're like, oh, that's cool. And you click on this and that takes you over there. And then you think, oh, let me look at that. And I spend way too much time on the computer that way. So some days I make it a point not to even go to the computer until I finished A, B, and C in my day, that I wanted to do something else.
But you also make lists.
Or I make lots of lists.
To help you, like, okay, finish that, got to move on for my day. So you're not really stuck in that.
Right. But I do spend more time that way, which is why I'm sort of abandoning Linda Loves Lavender a little bit, like not spending all my time there. I want to do it in a different way. That's one of the reasons, because when you get on Facebook, there goes my day. And then it's a negative flow. I think when they talk about flow is when you're so involved in something that you lose time, you lose track of the time, and you're just doing things. I'm always losing track of time, but sometimes it's just because you're sucked into Facebook and you don't realize how much time it takes to read this or to comment on that or to go to this website and all of that. But yeah, being intentional. So I make lists. I have a list of kind of like, here's the things I need to do. And then I have like a more short-term and a long-term list. And then I'll sometimes make a daily list just so I know this is what I have to do. Kathy was coming and I made a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday list. So I would get different parts of the house clean or go grocery shopping or do all the things I need to do to get ready for Kathy. And I just about made it. I just didn't pick her up on time.
Also with practicing or doing that time management, don't forget to schedule yourself time that to do the things that make you feel happy or joyful or,
Exercise was on my list Monday through Thursday.
Yeah, mine
I didn't do it. There wasn't time for that. Reading that happiness book was on my list every day. I wrote it down, but just didn't get to it. I think I picked up the book once, but I didn't actually get to the reading.
So I like this quote here from Michael Altshuler. Altshuler?
I don't
Whatever.
know. I
It
can't even
says,
see it.
the bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. So you
Oh.
truly are in control of so many parts of your day. We all know there's surprises and, emergency things pop up and different things like that. But you are in control of your day, of how you feel, and maybe not total reaction of your feelings depending on what's going on, but you can set yourself in that more positive or more happy, put a little happiness around you.
Yep.
Kind of.
And I think
part
that
of the
goes
day.
into the next one, which is making a bucket list. And I would say, that bucket list concept, I don't know where that came. I just heard of it with the movie, The Bucket List or something like that, which is kind of depressing because it's all the stuff you want to do before you die. But if you start your bucket list when you're still young and healthy, then I think it can be
It's all the
more
things-
optimistic.
Yeah.
And even so, like maybe there's a bucket list for now and then an all-time bucket list. Like maybe there's two categories of bucket lists. So that one of here's some things that I want to do before I'm 60, and here's some that I want to do before I die,
or even just in the next
or
5
if you're
years,
younger,
or-
if you're younger, start your bucket list when you're 20, or whenever, because there's always things that you want to pursue your passions and your interests and things like that. And not, if you create that list, then it's more definite. It's like, okay, here's my list.
And
now I
then-
got to do something about.
And then write down
fulfilling.
3 things or 4 things that you need to do under that that will help you to get to that
Right.
point,
Sub-goals or
goals
action
or,
steps for your goals.
action steps.
Mhm.
Yeah. So making a list of things that you always wanted to do, and prioritize the things that bring you happiness, bring you joy, that you'd like to do. And then maybe even have your goals list a separate list. And, like things you want to do for fun and happiness, or you want to see, maybe you want to travel to all the states in the United States. I don't know, but you can break that down away from goals. Goals could be something different that could be more long-term, that could be related to your job. It could be related to, purchasing a new house or who knows?
Right. Going back to that video, one of the things that they said was kind of acknowledging where you are in life and then starting to work on self-improvement, right? And so when you acknowledge yourself, you don't want to acknowledge like, oh, these are all the terrible things about myself.
Or I want to change.
Yeah, you want to start with, here's all the good things about me. This is all the stuff I love about myself that I want to keep. And then, okay, here's some things I'd like to improve. And then, okay, maybe just take one of those things to start working on. But that whole act of, self-analytical activities, reading spiritual books, reading uplifting books, not necessarily spiritual, but self-help books and things like that, or reading a biography of someone who maybe struggled or didn't. I always find it fascinating. I used to love reading biographies of people like Carol Burnett. I read hers. I read Star Wars, Carrie Fisher. But you see, all you see is this persona that made it big on the stage and screen or whatever, but you don't see the struggle. And reading people's struggles helps you to realize that you're not alone. Everybody has struggles, and it's just how you deal with them and how you move forward and, improve your life. So it's not how much we have, but how much we enjoy that makes us happy. That was Charles Spurgeon. All right. Examine your inner circle.
That's the next
Yeah.
one.
I think that one could be summed up with,
Choose your friends wisely.
choose your people. Choose your people that you are intimate with, that you
That make you feel good when you
yeah,
read
that
them,
you
know?
share your inner self with,
Mhm.
I mean, I think you can have that outer circle of people that you always hang out, like maybe these people are out there and you socialize with them, but your inner circle, the people that really matter, choose them wisely. Make sure you're choosing people who lift you up. And if there's somebody who's negative in your life, create some distance, because you don't need that. You don't need somebody tearing you down. We already do that with our negative self talk.
Self-talk,
We
yeah.
don't need outsiders bringing us down too. So
Get moving, exercise, just get up and do something. You don't even have to call it an exercise. If you have indoor or outdoor malls, or you can always walk outside, just walk in your neighborhood, smile, wave to somebody, just get your body moving.
yeah,
And that helps to,
it's all related.
to
Everything's related.
increase those happy endorphins, You can, Linda had already talked about getting inspired by reading something. Read something, books, magazine articles, or listening to uplifting music.
Podcasts, listening to
Podcasts, yeah.
podcasts and things. Yeah, there's all kinds of things out there. And I know because I have them all, and I've looked at a few pages of all of them. I've got so many books. I have a really bad habit of buying books and then not following through. So I have a couple, and I even created myself a notebook for book study, so that when I'm reading a book on something particular, like that sleep book or the happiness book, that I can take notes along the way and help to reinforce things. But my first goal would have to be to finish a book. I'm
Mine too.
terrible.
Okay, so we're off to number 10, which is find and follow your purpose. And I think that's a difficult one.
That's hard.
That's a really hard one.
I think some people just are born knowing their purpose. They're inspired by something. They have a passion for something, and they know what they're supposed to do. But for most of us, it's sort of like, I don't know. I think that's where my son is struggling right now, is he doesn't know his purpose. He doesn't have that passion of anything at this point. And I think some people are petrified to choose. What do you do with your life? Some people are just stuck, and I always told my students, I taught gifted and talented students. And I said, as you're looking at your life ahead, follow your passion, but also know that can change. And I showed them a podcast, kind of a TED Talk from a woman, and I can't remember the name of it. It was like a multi-faceted, multi-interest approach to life especially, I think it would work for a lot of people, but especially for gifted people, that they have so many different interests and passions that it's impossible for them to choose. And she said, it's okay, choose one. And when you've done it to death and you're ready to, you don't have that passion anymore, go on to the next thing. A fella that I acted with once, he was in school forever. He went to college into his 30s because he loved learning, and he had a passion for so many things, and he learned different languages. He actually went over to Japan and taught English to Japan students for a while. Follow that passion, and you don't have to pick it for your whole life. It can change, and I feel like I've done that. I did acting, I did teaching. Now I'm into the essential oils and living healthy. That's sort of my passion to talk and share about. But, there may be something else on that list in the next few years. I don't know. But I think it's hard. People are I think calling it your purpose in life is intimidating to people.
I think so too, because you can have many different purposes that all bind together, and that's one common, one big thing that creates the big thing. So is your purpose in life to help others in any way you can? So you've done it with teaching. You can do it with
Zoom calls.
But there's many ways to help other people. If that's your purpose, that can be incorporated either in a profession or, just in little daily things that you do.
Mhm. Mhm. And that thought, did you see that thought go right out of my head? Flew right
Sorry,
over.
I was talking to
No, it's okay. It was something you said. Yeah, I was going back to saying that calling it your purpose in life is intimidating because it's like, wait, my purpose in life, what is it? But we overcomplicate things too. And a purpose can be very simple. Maybe your purpose is to be the best mom you can be
Mhm.
and raise up the best children to be contributing citizens of the world. And you don't even know, but maybe your daughter is the future president, right? And that was your purpose, to give her that foundation. I think we
Exactly.
overcomplicate things. That purpose doesn't have to be, I'm going to cure cancer, but it's smaller things. And I also think that a lot of times that purpose is relating to others in some ways, doing some kind of a service for someone else. But it's not like, well, I have to be a police officer. That might be someone's purpose,
Mhm.
but it can be small things. It could be talking about health and wellness on Zoom every week.
That's
I don't
right.
know. It's my purpose right now. So focus on being the solution.
Serving others is an important twofold practice. It brings more happiness into the lives of those who we serve, and we also feel more positive and joyful ourselves when we give up. I lost it. When we help other people. Therefore, we are able to deal with our own issues better.
Yeah, I think this one goes back to like service to others and
Mhm.
kindness and all of that. But I like what it says about Mother Teresa. She had almost no possessions or material possessions, but she was full of joy all the time
Mhm.
because she was always serving others and practicing gratitude, being kind, all of that. So act now. What's that?
A goal without a plan is just a dream. So you have to act on what you're setting your goals, what your goals are, what you're, on your lists. That we
Yeah,
were
when you
talking
have a
about
dream
earlier.
of doing something,
Yeah.
unless you set a goal, create a goal and set action steps,
You're not
it's
gonna-
still just going to be a dream.
Right.
It's not, you're not going to achieve it.
right.
So you need to action plans. That's basically what that one says, right?
Yep. So don't let procrastination hold you back. That's for sure, because I think I'm a little bit of a procrastinator.
I'm a procrastinator, but I work best under pressure. So, when I have to do something, I can put it off, or maybe do a little bit here and a little bit there. But when push comes to shove, I just want to
Get it done.
That crunch time is a good time for me to work because I get in the flow and I
You're
focus and I'm
focused
there.
and-
So
Yeah, I feel the
I do
same
work.
way.
I work great under pressure, but
people have to get out of my way so I can then.
yeah, I'm going to be working. Don't come in
Just
here.
Stay away from me.
All right.
Okay.
Number 13, we're almost there. 13 is tell your money where to go. Get in my wallet. My bank, please.
So what that is meaning is, take control over your spending and your money and where it goes and what you're doing with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Know where it is. Know what you're doing. Be purposeful and exhibit some self-control.
Mm-hmm. Financial problems are one of the biggest things that can cause depression.
And there was something interesting. Was it on the video? And they talked about that. Yes, money has a small part to do with happiness. We know that although there are people who have nothing, who are generally happy souls and happy beings,
Mhm.
but money does play a part. Having that knowledge that you have enough should something go wrong, that you can take care of yourself, your family, and all of that. But also that increasing your wealth or your finance, having more money does not equate with more happiness.
Right.
Because we generally tend to swallow that money. Whatever it is that we are used to spending, when we get extra, we get a raise or something like that, then we start spending that amount of money. So that little bit of extra that we thought we were making is swallowed up, and then we still feel the same way. And even people who are very, very wealthy,
I was
you
just
know,
going to say, look at all these actors, actresses, whatever. Look at, you know, some of the wealthiest people in the world. You know, yeah, they have all that money, but are they truly happy?
yeah,
Divorce, this, I mean,
So
there's
much
a number
more.
of different things that is going on
yeah.
that, you know,
I-
trouble with their children, and you never know.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
happiness is just tied to the bare necessities. Do you have enough to get through the bare necessities? And
Right.
maybe you have some set aside for when the catastrophes happen, you know,
Right.
where the furnace goes or whatever it is.
Yeah, but there are a lot of wealthy people that do have happy lives, not
Mhm.
necessarily because of their wealth, but because they understand and know that family, or that
They don't focus on the money.
right. They don't focus on the money.
Money's not
and they do
the
a lot
goal.
of good for other people too with their money.
Mhm. Yeah.
So number 14 is go on a mission trip or support a mission. Let's see what else we have here on that. I don't think I read all the way through. No.
No.
So, you know, volunteering is something good. It doesn't have to necessarily be a true
A
mission trip
yeah.
or something like that. But volunteering is a great way to make you feel good, make others feel good, and support that.
I like how it says, even like use whatever gifts you have to give to others. So whatever it is that you're good at, share that with other people.
Yeah.
That's the
I
easiest
think
way to
that's
do it.
the main point of that.
Yeah. What's this one?
The last one is improve your, I hate the word diet.
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
want to.
Because the word die is in diet, and I don't like that. So I think
Lifestyle.
Yes.
exactly, improve your lifestyle, improve your eating plans, whatever your healthy eating plan, improve whatever you can improve when it involves food,
Nutrition.
right? Nutrition.
Mhm.
That's even better than saying food.
Yes. Improve your nutrition.
Improve your nutrition.
Yeah. And that, you know, I'm always on a quest for that. And I think, oh, I'm never going to have sugar again. And then I, you know,
But
pop
that's
something. And I don't think anything should be prohibited, but
Right.
it's just about the balance of things, you know, making sure that you're getting the good stuff and,
getting rid of the
and
bad
because it's
stuff.
all intertwined, we know that, right?
Mhm.
I mean, it's being happy is just a counterpart of a lot of different things in our lives. And I think we spent 7 weeks talking about loving yourself and loving yourself in those ways where you take care of your physical health, you take care of your mental health, you positive self-talk, and some of those other topics I've forgotten already. But, you know, like everything's intertwined. And that's what makes it so complicated. And I think why some people just give up, because it's like, wait a minute, you know, I'm working on my diet and or my nutritional intake, and I'm working on getting fit and taking care of my body. I'm meditating. I'm using positive self-talk. I'm getting rid of toxins in my life, people or chemicals or whatever. But now I have to think about this too. And I have to think about that, you know, like, I think it gets complicated for some people and they just give up. So it's a constant struggle. I think we've said that over and over again, that we're always evolving. And if you stop, then why continue? You know, you have to keep working on yourself.
And I
need
think
the
just
water.
doing one little thing at a time, because when you add up for the whole day, if you did one thing in each of those categories that you said in one day, okay, that's a large step. So, I mean, that's a big
If
thing.
you put your expectations too high, you're going to fail.
Right.
You
So
know, it's
just
like I'm going to climb, you know.
Yeah. So just try to do one little thing,
Right.
you know, at different times of the day. And then if that becomes your habit or your, you know, part of your day, then just think a month from now, what a big change that'll be from day 1 to day 30.
And I think it takes 10 days of practicing something to start to establish a habit. So don't give up after a week, keep going.
That's a good
know?
and then it's 30 days that the habit becomes a habit.
Yeah,
So it's 10 days to establish, and then 30 days, you know, you're good.
whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is.
So,
Even if it's one of those areas, you know, but
let's see, there was another something I wanted to share. I can get rid of that now. And let's see, where is my previewer? All right, so this will be the first one I'll share, and then I'm going to share the other one with the poem. Share screen. So those who look for beauty will find it. So I think of this as an attitude adjustment, right? You know, if you want to be a glass half full, start looking for the beauty in others, in your day, in your environment, in your situation. You know, start counting those blessings, and gratitude is a big part. I think that was the number one on the list, and it gets repeated in a lot of the research. Happiness isn't something you feel, it's something you do. You have to be actively searching for happiness, or not searching for it, but practicing happiness. Again, establish that habit. And being happy is more than just fulfilling your impulses, and happiness is work is important to that. As far as, you know, if you're in a job and you're not happy with the job, you probably need to change something, right? This one was cute. This one was, don't chase happiness, look for meaning instead. So people quote Aristotle as saying, a good life is a happy life. But really the Greek word that Aristotle uses in his teaching better translates to flourishing than happy. And when you read him, he specifically makes a distinction between flourishing and happy. Flourishing is living a virtuous life where you pursue excellence in your work, relationships, and community. Doing these things might not make you feel happy all the time. They're hard. They can be stressful, but they leave you with a deeper sense of meaning. So we also looked at something called eustress or eustress, E-U-S-T-R-E-S. I'm going to stop that again. And that is a good positive stress. So instead of making you depressed, of giving you anxiety with stress, it's a good positive stress that maybe makes you work harder or makes you achieve your goals. Where is that thing about eustress before I... Okay, it's a moderate or normal psychological stress interpreted as being beneficial for the person who's experiencing it. And events in life are ultimately up for interpretation, meaning that the same event can be a good stress or a bad stress depending on that person. And it functions as a positive challenge. It helps motivate you towards self-improvement and reaching goals. So there is a good stress, which I think was kind of interesting. We are getting on the 15-minute time almost. So I'm just going to share one last, wait, that's not what I'm sharing. What is that? Where is it? Okay, I want to share, we're done with that. So I want to share this poem and read that poem. So back to sharing screen. All right, this poem, I came across this poem and I thought it was really wonderful. And it's, you know, I think it's a way of being happy and choosing happiness. And it talks about making the ordinary come alive, a poem by William Martin. Do not ask your children to strive for extraordinary lives. Such striving may seem admirable, but it is a way of foolishness. Help them instead to find the wonder and the marvel of an ordinary life. Show them the joy of tasting tomatoes, apples, and pears. Show them how to cry when pets and people die. Show them the infinite pleasure in the touch of a hand, and make the ordinary come alive for them. the extraordinary will take care of itself. So I think those are wise words that, you
Yeah.
know, like pay attention to the
I
little
got
stuff.
goosebumps.
Yeah, I love that. And I thought it was really pretty
Powerful.
powerful and on point for what we're talking about, you
Mhm.
know, because you choose your own happiness. You choose to be happy. So don't be a pig wallowing in the mud of depression,
And self-pity.
self-pity. Like my analogy. Be pigs, don't be pigs. But you know, choose happiness. Look for the things that are good in your life. And
Even
then-
just in your day or in the
Yeah.
moment, or, you know, the old thing about stop and smell the roses.
Mhm.
You know, choose what your rose is for the day that you want to stop and think about and be appreciative of.
Absolutely. Any last thoughts, Mary?
You did an awesome job.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
I wasn't looking for compliments. I just didn't
No.
know if you. We tend to talk and talk and talk, but we like other people to talk. We
But
love
it hit
people get
a
on.
few spots there.
And we were sitting out on the, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mary.
It hit a few spots that I have to work on. So, but
Well, we appreciate.
I'm a work in progress. So
We all are.
Yes.
We all are.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is not to compare yourself to other people, because everybody's on a different path in that journey, and we take different paths. You know, it's not like we're all on the same path and we're all going to follow the same way.
Right.
We're all on different
Right.
paths. We're all at different places on our particular paths. And that was one of the things they said in the video. Don't compare yourself to other people. That just brings you down. It's like, oh, I wish I could be like blah, blah, blah. No, wish you could be like yourself, and, you know, maybe work on a point to get yourself to a point where, okay, I like this part of me now. And it shouldn't be world shaking, because you need to appreciate and love yourself for who you are right now.
And so how do you want to, how could you measure that for yourself? Could it be through journaling? Maybe start, you know, something and say, today, whatever, you know, I feel this, or I'm in this spot, or whatever. And then, you know, you don't have to journal every single day,
Right.
but you can jot things down like, well, today, you know, look back at what you wrote a few days
Mhm.
earlier or whatever. And then you can write down how you feel, maybe sometimes about those same things or other things. And you will eventually, I think, if you're practicing that part about trying to be happier or other things that, you know, are might be your goals or where you want to be or whatever. But if you're working on self-improvement, you'll see that difference in the way you write or what you're writing as you
Mhm.
go along.
And one way maybe to start as a diary, you know, write, you may be writing about how your day went,
Mhm.
and writing the details of what happened. But where it needs to start evolving is including your emotions.
Mhm.
How did you feel about that? And then the next step is self-analysis. Like, why did I feel like that? How can I improve that? Why I didn't like that I was feeling that or thinking
Mhm.
that or whatever. And all of those things, like, I think for me at this point, it just is a free flow of
Your
thoughts,
thoughts.
and I just let it come out, even if it's like, because nobody should be reading it but you,
Mhm.
unless you share it with somebody. But you shouldn't even have that intent that you're sharing it with anybody else, because as soon as you think that somebody else might read
You're
it,
gonna limit yourself.
you're gonna hold back. So just let it go, let it flow. And I find that I become my own best analyst when I do that, that I am able to just let it go, write it all down. And then every once in a while I'll go back and read some stuff that I wrote, and I may like,
Why did
Oh,
I
yeah,
feel that way?
that makes sense. And
Yeah.
and I'm still feeling like that. So now I really have to, you know, make some changes or do something to, you know, you read something that you did
change.
in the past and then it really affects you. And you're like, oh, well,
Why was I feeling that way?
and it may not
Yeah.
strike you at the moment, but it'll strike you later. But anyway,
Right.
just free throw, just let it flow, let
Right.
it flow.
And I think that'll help to build on for the future, you
Mhm.
know, to
I think of it as my own therapist when I do it. And it's funny, like the more my thoughts flow, the worse my handwriting gets, which is okay because I may not ever have to go back and read it. Just
Right.
releasing those thoughts and feelings from me is therapeutic. So
Yeah, the old write it down, crumble it up and throw it away. You're done with that,
Yeah.
you know, kind of
Yeah.
thing too.
all right, time to start our day. Hopefully
It'll be
it'll
warm
be
enough.
nice and sunny. We haven't gotten in the pool yet. I haven't been in the pool since the fall. So I was hoping that it would be pool weather to share with Kathy. And Mary, you know where I live. I'm gonna be home all day. You
Yep.
come and join us. And maybe we'll make a date. Probably not tomorrow, but sometime you're gonna be here for a while. Maybe one day we can
Monday.
do
Oh, yeah,
a-
but then after that,
Yeah.
I'll still be around.
yeah, while you're still in the villages. She may be down. You don't even know where you're staying.
I don't know. I have to ask my husband. Then
She
I can
may
let
be
Mary
closer
know.
to
I might
you.
be closer to Mary.
Right,
Who knows?
right. All right. Thanks
But
for
not that
joining.
far, you know. It's like,
Yeah, you're
Oh,
right,
I know,
we're
but
not.
to me it feels like you're forever, and I
30 minutes at the most.
yeah, that's forever.
So what's halfway between you and Linda?
I don't know, probably 466 somewhere in there.
Yeah, I have no clue. You're asking the wrong person. I'm directionally challenged.
Okay.
I have to GPS everything. So,
All right. Well, I guess we're done for today. Thanks for joining us. I have no
Thank you.
idea what we're talking about next week.
We'll figure it out. We have
Yeah,
a couple of days. but-
Maybe you'll be here, Mary. Maybe we'll do the makeup and
Oh, yeah, that would be
skincare
fun.
class and make
Get
it
a
a little
place
part
and-
of Zoom
yeah.
or something. But
yeah.
we'll chat. We'll figure it out
Okay.
and we'll let you know.
Okie doke.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.